Then and Mr. Shubham. Now it's time for our final panel discussion for the day. The theme for the next panel discussion is Building in India, Unlocking Opportunities in Tugs and Coastal Shipping. We have a very eminent speakers today, starting with Mr. Vineet Badani, Director Polestar Marine. He comes with expertise in vessel operations and fleet expansion. Mr. Tamal Roy, Group President JM Bakshi. He comes with over 4 decades of maritime experience. Mr. Ajay Jalali, Vice President Sales and Business Development, Variatech, with over 2 decades in marine engineering and strategic sales. And finally, we have Mr. Vipul Srivastava, General Manager, JSW Shipping, with over 25 years in shipping and operations experience. This panel will be moderated by Mrs. Annette Holte. May I request all panelists and moderator to please come and join the stage.
Okay, guys, ready to start. Okay, good afternoon again, everyone. With the growing demand in harbor operations and coastal logistics, India presents a strong opportunity for fleet expansion. This session forwards ship owners' perspectives on what will actually drive investment decisions. We will deliberately move beyond the question of whether vessels will be built in India. We heard the previous panel that the direction is increasingly clear. Instead, the focus now will be how do we make this transition commercially viable, scalable, and competitive. At the same time, we will explore how sustainable technologies and Indo-Norwegian collaboration can translate into practical solutions for India's maritime future. And importantly, what conditions are required for global OEMs and technology providers to truly participate in this growth story. So let's start by setting the context, because a lot is happening on the policy side in India now, and that is clearly shaping the maritime market. So if I start with you, Mr. Roy. The government of India is playing an increasingly active role through initiatives as the Green Tugs Transition Program, Make in India requirements, and a stronger push for Indian flagged vessels. How are these policies influencing your fleet procurement strategy over the next 3 to 5 years? And importantly, do they already create a compelling business case for investment, or do you still see critical gaps?
Okay, so that's quite a few questions bundled in one. But let me just tackle them one at a time. As far as the Government of India's policy is concerned, it's pretty well clear. There is an MAKV 2047. It sets out the guideline, and the guidelines are very clear. It's also very holistic. It's not about just going green or preparing green tugs. It's not just about Make in India. There is a larger subset to all of this. As far as we are concerned, as in J. Bakshi, we've been following this policy for a while now, and we think that there is a lot of merit to it. We also think that there's a lot of opportunity in it, business opportunity. Having said that, what needs to be really seen is how these opportunities pan out, because there's always a slip between the lip and the cup, right? So while there is a policy, the actual implementation on the ground is yet to be proven. So this is where we stand as far as the basic policy is concerned. We, as in the JM Bakshi Group, just to give you all an insight, apart from just fleet production, that is what fleet procurement, which is what you talked about, JM Bakshi has never been in fleet. It has never been earlier in running and operating a fleet of vessels of any kind. We've been operators, managers, manning agents, vessel agents, but we've never had our own fleet. So what we are going to do is largely a more holistic approach. We are looking at building out ships. We are looking at procuring specialized ships in certain categories, which includes the green tug. And we are looking at certain areas where we can get into integrated shipyard building. So the Make in India, we take it very seriously, and we think that's going to be the way forward. So our way of looking at it is there are targeted areas where we will concentrate upon, not only in fleet owning and operations, but also in the build out of the vessels itself through integrated shipyards. Did I miss out any part of the question?
No, I think that was you answered. So it's like just not the regulatory push. You also see that it's a commercial upside on this.
Absolutely. We are a commercial organization, so we definitely think that there will be a commercial upside in this. One will need to have the staying power. We are a group which is over 110 years old. So at least we have proven in the past that we have staying power. It is for us to prove in the next 100 years that we have the staying power. But we think this is very important for India because India needs to grow into a major maritime economy. And with our coastline, with our geographical position in the world and along the shipping lanes, I think our share, other than in providing manpower, has not been very significant, and that needs to change. And therefore, we think that the policies are in the right direction. But as I said, implementation on the ground is going to be key. As long as all the stakeholders can work on it in a holistic fashion and in a very positive fashion, I think it will happen. We will definitely be a part of it. We will sit through it. We'll sit through the process. We are not over eager to win tenders or things like that. That's part of the whole business. But we have a larger plan, and we think that if we can execute that larger plan within the framework of the policies, that should be good for us to at least make a certain change in the way Indian maritime sector is perceived.
Okay, that brings me to a couple of examples from Norway because in Norway we have some companies that they're not maritime companies, but they are moving into the maritime sector. You have like Yara, they're a fertilizer company. Now they have a container ship to be able to transport or remove trucks from the road. The same was this ASCO example is also, they're not in the marine business, but they're looking into like other ways of making their business sustainable and disrupting maybe the market a bit. Is that something you're also looking into?
Absolutely. I mean, hello. Since you mentioned a name, Yala is one of our prime customers. We have been working with Yala for, well, longer than I can remember. So Yala does work with us in India. Norwegian companies, especially Norwegian shipping companies, have always been known for innovation. So right through the recorded history, I mean, we've seen Norwegian companies doing a lot of innovation. A lot of that innovation needs to come in here. And it's not just innovation of products, I think it's the innovation of thinking. The way we think, the way we do business, even tried and tested technologies can be used in innovative ways to get the end result. So, J. Bakshi itself, we like to do things differently. We like to follow the path probably others would hesitate to enter. But that's the USP that we would like to play because we think that being a forerunner does give you an advantage in the market, and we always never play for a small position. So we would always play for a position where we have a significant hold of that business, so that we can, be able to create an ecosystem around that business which works. This thing. If you also look at the J. Bakshi Group's record, we have no other businesses. We are a strictly maritime logistics company, and we are strictly India. We don't have a single office outside India. We don't have any other businesses which is non-maritime or not connected with maritime. And all our businesses kind of integrate with each other. We call it our network. So we love that network effect because we also, our MD loves to call it a flywheel. The flywheel is like every element of the business generates and gives the momentum to the overall business and the overall flywheel. And we think that that's a good way to go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you. So let me bring in Mr. Bhavani from Polestar. As a tug owner looking at fleet renewal and expansion, what are the top factors that drive your investment decisions today? And in India specifically, how do you balance the push for local build with the need for performance certainty and proven technology?
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, everybody. Um, See, the government, like Mr. Roy pointed out, has done its job of giving us, I believe, one of the best pieces of legislation in the shipping industry. I would say that it is almost there. It is great for the harbor towage industry. We have visibility for the next 25 years, what kind of renewals we require, what kind of net new orders will come to us. So, in that sense, there is going to be a lot of opportunity for us commercially as well as to grow our fleet in terms of volume. Having said that, we are positively but cautiously approaching this. Like Mr. Roy again pointed out, there's a slip between the lip and the cup at times. So the three main factors which we keep in mind while approaching these new opportunities. A would be, of course, the technology disruption which is coming about. We do not know what is the fuel of the future. So, if the government can somehow tell us that, okay, for the next 10 years, we are only going to use batteries for harbor towage, for example, or for coastal runs, we'll only have methanol, then investments can go in that direction and more confidently. Right now, from where we see within the next 5 years, even the technologies coming today are going to be obsolete. They are not going to be probably there. And which brings us to the second factor which we take into account is the stability that the government policies are going to bring to the table. So, is this policy going to sustain itself? Is the new technology which is coming, is it suitable for the kind of operations that these ports are looking out for, which our clients are looking out for, and are these commercially viable? So at the end of the day, even our end clients are going to start, evaluating whether these new units coming in actually match with their requirements and what is the additional cost that they're paying for it. And finally, the third factor which I would go for is the availability of the shipyards and the equipment and suitable equipment rather. So, do we have shipyards who have the experience in building these kind of vessels with newer technologies? Whether they have the right people, they have any experience going. As of now, we do not have, unfortunately, any. So we are starting from scratch. Even when it comes to equipment, is there proven equipment out there? Of course, we have a lot of things, a lot of new innovations coming from Europe, especially Norway, into our industry through the orders that you're placing in, as well as the innovations that OEMs like you are getting to India. So, if we are able to get these three things in line, and today this has happened only for the harbor towage industry, if it happens for other sections of the maritime trade, like the coastal trade or the offshore sector, we believe that there is a lot of requirement which can come about. And so, just to add to that, see, local building is a given. I mean, we have no choice at least for the next 10 years. And from what we are seeing so far, from the first units which have come about, it is pretty much in line with what we would expect with a reasonably good modern yard. From our past experience, we believe that at the end of the day, these ships are just an assembly of various equipment which are coming in from different parties. So if you can have a good shipyard, if you can have a proven design, and you have the right equipment mix, then we believe that the risk factors associated with performance or the unknowns are reduced considerably. So you can have a good, very good quality product at competitive prices, provided that you marry these three people together in the right way.
Perfect. So, so then let me bring in Mr. Srivastava from JSW because you're looking at this from a broader shipping and logistics perspective. And we are seeing an early momentum for tug orders, initial green vessel projects, and policy support for coastal shipping. And from your perspective, how large could this opportunity be over the next 5 to 10 years? And what is really driving the demand? Is it a policy push, port-led needs, or underlying trade economics?
Yeah, thank you. I was just waiting for this question. And I represent JSW Group, which is in India, it is 23 billion conglomerate. Unlike others, we are into various fields, but JSW Steel is a flagship company. And in that, when talking about the marine, we are with ports and JSW shipping. So in ports, we are having more than 10 ports. And for now, we are having a cargo of 141 million ton per annum, which we are targeting to be around 400 by 2030. And about shipping, we do own and operate 14 MBCs, 8,000 DWT in coastal shipping. So we are the largest coastal shipping operators. So I take it a pride and a purpose. When I talk with the numbers. So discussing about really in coastal shipping, as everybody has appreciated, we also appreciate that the government policies, they have helped a lot, and they're forming a runway, I would say, and it really helps what we are having for green tug and also what maritime vision they have. In addition to that, second, which I feel the pull is also from the port led. More the ports, more are the cargoes, more is the requirement for the tugs, more is the ship, and then as a owner, more is the money. So even that is an important. And the third part, what you said about the economics, underlying economics. So now I would say that in India, all the steel plants, cements, they are coming along the coast of the river and the things. This is really helping a lot with the coastal shipping. Talking about JSW itself, we have got our steel plant in Dolvi, which is at the coast on the river bank, and all the cargoes we move over there are from the river. And we are having our captive ports, captive ship, captive cargo, and that is what I think is driving. So the economics also works on the way that all the business things they are on the coast. So answering to your question, all the three aspects are important. One is the policy, another is port led, and third is the economics. Now, I think the question must not be like what is the vessels required or how we are going to build. The question should be more about like what type of vessels, what technologies we are looking out for. Because what we do today in 2026, it will form a template for next 25 years. What vessels we are going to build today. And I would say, just I will take one time that few years back, 2015, when Norway they built the first battery ferry vessel, it was looked upon like an experiment. But now Norway is pioneering. They are having more than 70, 100 vessels, all electric. So I would say India is also on the same point now. It's a pivoting point in 2026. So the way Norway have progressed, I look forward that India also progress in the similar manner. And it is very important to have a good technology partner, and that is what we are looking for.
Yeah, that is a perfect bridge over to Mr. Jalali. You are, or you sit right at the intersection between the global OEMs and the Indian market and provide some of this technology that is asked for. Variatech works closely with the European and Norwegian technology providers, and many of them are evaluating to set up local manufacturing in India. And from that vantage point, what are the biggest challenges in making India scalable and attractive for as a manufacturing base? And where do you see the biggest gap today? Policy, ecosystem, capability, or commercial alignment?
Hi, good afternoon, Anita and August audience. As you rightly said, that Varia is an interface between the OEMs and yards here in India, and we bring a lot of technologies, we bring a lot of skills into India, and we have a very large pool of engineers that support the life cycle of the complete vessel and the acquisition of the vessel as per se. Now, coming to the shipbuilding growth in India, as we have seen that in last few years, particularly last 3 4 years, there has been a lot of interest in Indian shipbuilding, particularly from European owners who could see contracts coming to Indian PSU yards like MDL and GRSC, which is a sort of a groundbreaking, owners coming from Netherlands or Denmark building multipurpose general cargo vessels in these types of shipyards. And lately, we have also seen a lot of big companies like MSC and Carsten Reader and other companies like Sterenson planning to build in Swan Shipyard. So these are all very good indications, and we are on the right track. Also, as explained by my previous co-panelists, that going forward, a lot of Indian government strategies are basically supporting this whole idea of Indian shipbuilding. Now, coming from the prospects of OEM who wants to build up in India, to just give an comparison, India today is building the gross tonnage is around less than 100,000 tons per annum, the Indian shipbuilding capacity. Compare it with China, which is 30 million gross tonnage, and Korea is second, 18 million gross tonnage. So the gap is not small, it's just exponential, which means when an OEM looks at India to produce something in India viably and scalable, they first look at the demand. They look at how much a pipeline, a volume pipeline is there, and whether they will be able to, uh, uh, justify that sort of an investment in India. So then these numbers right now, they don't really add up for them to come up here in India. But that doesn't mean they're not looking at India. They're at the moment at the fence, looking at what is happening and what number of volumes are coming in. Definitely, that is going forward. But what will happen in the transition phase? Still, that happens, because that's going to take maybe few couple 3 4 years from now. A lot of yards are coming up with Hyundai is coming. There are other Samsung is coming with Swan, and all these big players are already declaring that they are coming up with many big plans. But that's going to take 3 4 years. What will happen in the transition? That's where companies like Varia come into picture, where we will be doing collaborations and we'll be doing license manufacturing for OEMs. But at this moment, that is definitely a possibility. We see a good visibility for that. We have identified a lot of OEMs, subcomponent manufacturers who are from Europe already in India. So the question is to bring them together and and make a package as a sort of an solution for the shipbuilding. Now the problem, the challenges that we are facing right now is threefolds for the OEMs to come into India. Of course, they will have a joint venture with us, and we will be, making the offers on their behalf. And the challenge here is the cost of capital in India. It is just unviable. The banks still consider marine as an high risk, shipbuilding as an high risk, and the cost of capital is so high that for Varia or companies like us who want to go into collaboration or joint manufacturing, the upfront cost or the finance cost of that particular any equipment, because it takes it is production, it is steel, it is factory, it is validation, it is factory approvals, it is putting up so much of infrastructure, people skill. So it needs a lot of investments. But the banks are not supporting because the cost of capital is high. Of course, we have seen the shipbuilding finance assistance from government, which is in the tune of 70,000 crores, but it is primarily focusing only on the shipbuilding. I mean, giving green shipping and brownfield shipyards, but it is not focusing on the OEM part of it, who is going to set up in India and their joint venture partners. So, then coming to the question, what are the recommendations from our side to the government or the ministry or Ministry of Ports and Shipping, that whatever the grants have been given as shipbuilding finance of 70,000 crores, they need to also consider giving, long term and low interest loans to MSMEs to set up to help in setting up these production facilities in India till the volumes are up. We were talking of volumes are up, means 30 ships being built in a year. Only then OEM is going to come up. But the transition phase has to have this sort of a setup where the government is able to support local fabricators with the technology partners from Europe. So that is one aspect of the challenges that we have. The second aspect is basically about in a project. We still, if you see, 30 to 40% of still the equipments have to be imported. And then when we are importing the equipments, if a shipyard is importing, the duty is, if it's an export project, is nil. But if we are importing as Varia, we have to pay a custom duty of around 7 to 10%. Plus, we have to pay GST on that. Of course, GST is an input credit we get after a period of 5 to 6 months down the lane, but that it blocks our finance for that period of time. It becomes difficult then to move forward and make a competitive offers. So these are the basically few things which are holding up, the investments in India as far as the OEMs are considering coming into India. So as far as the policy is concerned, I would say that the policy needs to be tweaked a little bit. They have already put shipbuilding finance, so somebody has to think that even this money has to go into financing the sub suppliers or the vendors for that, because they constitute around 50 to 60% of the total vessel cost. So if we have to be competitive worldwide, even with shipbuilding finance, we Indian vessel cost is still maybe 15 to 20% more, because GSW is a classical example where they're building are not in India, just outside. Because this price difference, even after shipbuilding finance assistance from the government considering 25 or 30% subsidies, we still have a price gap. So why is this price gap? Because the OEM suppliers, there is no local production. How that local production is going to happen when we have very eased, long-term, low-cost, finance available? So these are the challenges that we have.
Perfect, thank you. And then I think, and from our side, it's, as you say, it's the scale of economy. And when we started our castings of water jets, we had to do it for the world, because it doesn't make any sense to do it for just India. So, but I think it's also, as several touched into, is to have proven technology, to have high quality, and that is often European and Norwegian OEMs are perceived as high cost, high quality, and more expensive. So, and then this is an open question. In the Indian operating context today, does premium actually pay off over the life cycle, and does upfront cost still dominate decision making? I think we were touching into L1, and how can we sort this out?
At this point, I do differ from you. When we talk about our projects at JSW, we are do concerned about the quality. I would say we are having, the way I've said, we are having our own MBCs, minimal carriers. And as Mr. Ajay said, in our vessel, even we are having an option of having any Chinese hatch covers, but we never go for it. We only go with TTS Norway. So it is up to the owner. Not only always goes with L1, even we go with the quality. But yes, I would like to always say that whenever an OEM come for selling their product, they should come with overall product cost, life cycle cost, because the capex will be high. That we are very much aware. Okay, the capex will be high, but at the same time, overall product they have to give us the life cycle cost and also the assurance about their quality. I think that will help up, and it will not be like, we also know in India that we cannot compare a product from Norway to China. So we are ready to pay that premium, and we are paying. So that mindset that always L1 wins, I do differ at this point.
So we work in the L1 environment. We are always bidding for government tenders where L1 matters. But there is this mindset that India always takes price into, price is the most important thing, which I respectfully disagree with, especially for any prudent owner. Quality is very important because that is something that he has to live with at least for 10 to 15 years. A maritime asset does not get done in 5 years. It's not a car that you can just replace after 5 years. You're looking for a minimum life of 15, 20 years. And from there on, you need to work. But what is this premium? What is this technology premium that we are paying? That is very critical, which many European countries, do not take into account. There is a certain premium that I can factor into my cost, but if the premium is magnified, then I cannot put that into my commercial operation. I can take my return of investment to differ over, say, 10-15% of time more, but I cannot have it more dramatically different than my competitors. So price is important, but the quality, the technology, the provenness of the technology is also equally important for us as Indian owners. And the cost effectiveness, like Mr. Srivastava pointed out, the cost effectiveness and longevity of what you're providing to us with suitable service and after sales support, I think so is a primary part of concern for any prudent owner.
Good. And I also think that if you look at the consumer market, that people are more like looking into sustainability. They want to have um, making sure that what they're buying is sustainable, and they could even be willing to pay extra for like freight or other things to be part of this, take part of the cost. So, Mr. Roy, do you feel that there's a push from the consumers that drives some of the decisions in your business?
So, I think I would continue to reiterate. Hello. Yeah, I think I would continue to reiterate on the line that my previous panelists are speaking about. For us, it's important to know what is the price we are paying for. Not because it is Norwegian, not because it is Dutch, or that's not what it is. What exactly is it that the premium is for? And the premium has to translate into something tangible, right? So, from a sustainable perspective, let's just look at, let's say, a normal diesel tug versus today's electric tug, which is the big push, right? The capital cost is high. But if you look at it from a life cycle cost, if I take it from an OPEX and a CAPEX point of view, calculations that we've done, probably by the seventh or the ninth year, you may agree or disagree, but probably by the seventh or ninth year, it's become equal. And the tug's life is typically 25 years. So if in one third of the life, if you've already come to some point, that's a win, right? So the definition of the premium has to be very clear as to what we are paying that premium for. That's got to be there. And the other thing is, I think this whole ecosystem that you're talking about, I think the government has done their bit by doing their thing. It is now up to the private sector, it's up to the other stakeholders also to stand up and be counted, if I may put that. There is no business without risk. There is no business without risk. It's the question of how you manage the risk. So one of the ways we look at it is, and as I mentioned to you, and probably both of my fellow panelists will agree, they have their ships for their own use, right? So therefore, they will pay that. They will want ships which are built well, and they're willing to pay that premium for that because it is their own fleet. If I was a builder and I'm just going to pay on the L1 basis, that might be a different aspect of things. But again, as Mr. Jalali pointed out, 60% of the cost of the vessel, maybe more if in a battery operated vessel, is actually bought out. And the assembly of it is only that is what is happening in the yard, and then fabrication, right? So there is a logistics activity shipbuilding is done. But shipbuilding per se is very aspirational, in my opinion, where India is today. I think the way to go is to bring in OEMs would be to look at the ship repair space. There is a big gap in ship repair in our country. Ship repair is an easy way, not for the OEMs necessarily to manufacture the product, but also at least to start with the spares and the after sale service and create an environment around it. And if that is available, so today, for example, if one wanted to repair a ship in India and there is the same duty problem, so one has to wait for the ship to come and then order from Singapore or Dubai and then wait for this thing. That's not acceptable. So what has to be done is to create an ecosystem, and the government's already working on it. I mean, the government's already shown that intent. It is now up to the private sector to be able to turn around and say, look, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to try and set up this. There has to be a first starter. Somebody's got to bell the cat, or somebody's got to turn around and say which came first, the egg or the chicken. So there is going to be a build out to it. We are very cognizant of that fact that there will be a build out, but we are quite clear that if we are going to get into fleet ownership, we must get into ship repair, shipyard, or what we like to call an integrated shipyard. And we do not say that an integrated shipyard is only focused on repair or building. It's basically a yard with a lot of infrastructure needed. And the infrastructure is similar, whether you're doing a repair activity or a build activity. Of course, the processes are completely different. The mindset and the costings are different. But at the same time, the infrastructure is the same. So somebody's got to build out that infrastructure. We ourselves are looking at collaborating with international technical partners in the ship repair as well as in the shipbuild space. And we've identified probably around 5 or 6 locations around the country where we definitely think there is an opportunity to be created. A lot of these opportunities will go through the tender route. We'll still have to be L1 or H1 as the case may be. But yes, as I said, we think that there is an opportunity. We think that there is a commercial opportunity. Probably 5 to 10 years down the line, we will find out whether we were right or wrong, but we intend to be there.
Yeah, perfect. And then I think we're running out of time. And then if we meet again, like 3 to 5 years, as you say, what is the biggest change you think will have been into this industry?
Shipyards producing ships for India.
I agree completely. It's just going to be growth from here on. We believe that it's going to be exponential growth. If you're just talking about harbor towage, we are looking at 170 to 200 tugs in the next 10 years, which is phenomenal growth, all to be made in India, which was never the case so far. And this is only the commercial segment that we are talking about. So shipyards, shipbuilding, and ship owning will be the flavor for India. And we are very sure this will happen to other segments of ship owning as well.
Just a small flavor. Just a small flavor of the green tugs itself. How many tug contracts have been awarded so far? 8? Maybe 9. You've got 2, right?
Yeah.
So maybe 8 or 9 tugs have been awarded. How many electric tugs are there in the water worldwide? I mean, let's cut out China. Maybe 8 or 9, right? So the point is, India is a huge opportunity, right? And there is 140, 50 tugs to be gone. Whether electric, tomorrow moves into other green fuels, it's not important. Uh, the government is giving a 15-year guaranteed take or pay contract. I mean, what more does the government have to do? I mean, they're not going to actually say, oh, we will make sure that your profits are also looked after. No, that's not going to happen, right? So that's wishful thinking. Neither of the government can predict. Nobody, none of us in the room can predict what's going to be the next fuel. So I don't think that's the point. The point is that this technology, they are saying, look, I'm giving you a take or pay contract in 15 years. From a business point of view, if I look at it in 7 or 8 years or 9 years, I'm equating to tugs which are in the market today. I think that's a good business prospect.
Again, from owners, I talk money, so I feel the financing of the green vessels, not only tugs, even for the coastal shipping. So I think financing is the most critical one.
And Mr. Ajay.
Yeah. So if we meet after 5 years, and what would be the growth, right? Where would it move? What would be the drivers for it? So basically, as my fellow panelists already informed, that Green Tug is a fantastic policy from Government of India, where there is a visibility of 15 years of charter, and which gives a good sort of an sort of a comfort to the people who want to invest. That sort of policies should also come in the other sectors. For example, India has such a large coastline of 11,000 kilometers, and we are hardly doing any coastal shipping. I mean, even if I have to drive from, if I have to go to Kochi for my holidays, I will just take a car or a plane, but nobody is even thinking about using a ferries, which is a fantastic thing happening in Europe. So such sort of drivers have to be there. Like you go into rope access, you go into short seas, you go into coastal shipping, you go into green tugs. Government also has to push the PSU oil companies like GAIL or IOCL and form joint ventures, because they are already doing it. They are announcing with SCI, and they are planning big ships. But it is all, I believe that this has to come all together, and we go and push together this Indian industry, and we really see it in next 5 to 10 years going to number five. I mean, from 0.1 million to at least 5 million gross tonnage, then definitely we will have a different sort of an audience here with a lot of OEMs apart from Kongsberg and few of our Norwegian OEMs. We will have a very large hall here, and we all believe that it is possible, and it is achievable and doable. And the last thing before I go, or before we close the session, I mean, if we have seen in 2008, we had a very big opportunity as a shipbuilding industry, but we have been given another opportunity in 2026, and we will not be given a third opportunity. We have to grab this second opportunity with whatever we have in our hands, with all the stakeholders, OEMs, shipyards, ship owners. We have to work together as one family, and it's like there is an Indian saying like one family, one world, and we have to look into that sort of a scenario in shipbuilding as well. Yeah, thank you from my side. Yeah.
Fantastic. A lot of good perspectives. And I hope to see you on this coastal ferry down to Kochi in 5 years. We could have a drink. So thank you all.